Students still shaken up Monday as classes resumed at the University of Georgia after 22-year-old Laken Riley was found dead on campus last week.
Definitely, I'm watching my back. I'm a lot more careful.
Riley went out for a run Thursday morning, but never made it back home. The coroner's office says she died of blunt force trauma to the head.
It is so obvious to me why it feels so dark right now, and that is because we lost one of the brightest lights that there's ever been.
Hundreds gathered at Tate Plaza Monday to support Riley's sorority sisters from Alpha Chi Omega, all still grieving her sudden death.
Whether it was nursing school, being the Alpha Chi banner chair, or the incredible runner that she was, Laken showed devotion throughout every avenue of her life.
We're tracking the political fallout from the murder of 22-year-old nursing student Laken Riley. Her accused killer, 26-year-old Jose Ibarra, came to the U.S. illegally from Venezuela.
Now some are slamming Democratic local leaders in Athens for what they are calling a policy failure. Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo is live at the state capitol with that angle of the story tonight. Rob?
Courtney, Tom, I spoke with one Republican congressman who is calling on the resignation of both the Clark County DA and the mayor of Athens. He says that they are to blame partially for the murder of 22-year-old Laken Riley. Tonight, Athens mayor is pushing back on claims his city is a sanctuary for people who have come to the country illegally.
Greetings, valued viewer. You give me a few minutes and I'll give you the exact reason why this horrible tragedy coming out of the University of Georgia highlights exactly why quite often the Democrats are perceived as weak and inept. Please stick around because I'm probably not going where you think I am. I know most might think that I'm saying that this incident makes the Dems look weak and inept because the perpetrator was in this country illegally. I'm gonna touch on that, but actually what I'm referring to is this.
State police superintendent, he said that this is an opportunity to start a conversation about gun control and how to keep guns out of the hands of mentally ill people. What would you support as a leader to make it tougher for people with mental illness to get guns?
Well, a couple of things. There'll be a right time and place to have that conversation. We're less than 24 hours out. We got two families that need to bury their loved ones. We got families waiting for their loved ones to leave the hospital, and they're praying for their full recoveries. I think now is the time to focus on those victims. There will be an absolute appropriate time for us to talk about policies and politics, and I'm sure that folks will want to score political points off this tragedy as they've tried to do off previous tragedies. Right now, let's focus on these families.
Sometimes when these horrible massacres occur, it leads to questions about gun control. Has this particular massacre made the president think anything more about pursuing tighter gun laws, such as background checks, to prevent massacres like this from happening again?
Look, this is an unspeakable tragedy. Today is a day for consoling the survivors and mourning those we lost. Our thoughts and prayers are certainly with all of those individuals. There's a time and place for a political debate, but now is the time to unite as a country.
We are receiving information about this horrific tragedy. It has moved everyone in the Congress, as you might imagine. Our hearts go out to all those involved, the families, of course, of the victims, and we're so grateful for law enforcement. We trust and hope and pray that they're able to apprehend this individual as quickly as possible. There's no more injury or loss of life. At the end of the day, the problem is the human heart. It's not guns, it's not the weapons. At the end of the day, we have to protect the right of the citizens to protect themselves, and that's the Second Amendment. And that's why our party stands so strongly for that. This is not the time to be talking about legislation. We're in the middle of that crisis right now.
On Monday, Governor Kemp blamed President Biden on Fox News.
Under Joe Biden's watch, 7.5, 8.5, however many millions of people that have come across the border, and we have no idea who all these people are.
A sanctuary city is a place where local laws can serve to protect immigrants from deportation or prosecution. Athens mayor told Fox 5 in an email his city isn't one because the state banned them and makes them prove every year they're not breaking the law. In 2019, the city council passed a resolution welcoming immigrants, quote, of all statuses. But a few weeks ago, the city clarified the resolution, quote, merely expresses a desire to be welcoming to people from all backgrounds and doesn't hinder law enforcement.
Now I always say if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Kemp appearing poised to toughen the laws statewide.
What are the local policies of the local governments and local law enforcement? And that's something I've been talking about with, district attorneys in some jurisdictions that are not prosecuting crimes.
Democratic State Senator Lena Parent blamed D.C. Republicans for killing the border bill in a tweet before adding, quote, let's not politicize Laken's tragic loss.
Right now, let's focus on these families.
Today is a day for consoling the survivors.
This is not the time to be talking about legislation. We're in the middle of that crisis right now.
This is exactly why the Dems are perceived as weak and inept. They're the Charlie Brown of the political parties, playing by rules that Lucy, aka the Republicans, don't care about. The Republicans are like, who cares what I said yesterday if it means a win today?
Right now, let's focus on these families.
Today is a day for consoling the survivors.
This is not the time to be talking about legislation. We're in the middle of that crisis right now.
On Monday, Governor Brian Kemp blamed President Biden on Fox News.
Please don't get this misconstrued. This is not an anti-gun video. What I'm doing is highlighting the GOP's hypocrisy when it comes to politicizing an event. In fact, this is the very situation that makes me feel the need for the Second Amendment. I just don't think we all need Rambo-style weapons. I would have loved for this to have been some story about a young college girl jogging. A guy jumps out on her and she pulls out a 22 or a 25 out of some cool Lululemon concealed carry case out of the small of her back, and she put 2 holes in this neck. Now, let's get to the other elephant in the room, which is the GOP and the uproar. No, I'm being serious. The perpetrator was someone here illegally, and this happened on this administration's watch. Now, I could pull up the stats on how little immigrants actually commit crimes once they're in the States, or I could even get into the statistics of who typically is the perpetrator on these types of crimes, but I won't. Because the truth is, Laken would likely still be here if Mr. Jose Ibarra was not. And what makes matters worse is Mr. Ibarra was exposed to the system on at least 2 previous occasions and benefited from catch and release. Ibarra was arrested as recently as September of 2023 for endangering a minor up in New York City. How in the hell was he allowed to be in Athens months later, taking the life of an up-and-comer?
Authorities say the suspect arrested in connection with the murder of a University of Georgia student entered the country illegally through the southern border nearly 2 years ago. Police tell us that suspect, 26-year-old Jose Ibarra, has racked up several other charges since illegally crossing the border in 2022. And now Ibarra is being held in Athens Clark County Jail, facing charges for the murder of 22-year-old nursing student Laken Riley. News Nation's Caitlin Becker is live on the UGA campus tonight with more on Ibarra's criminal history, what we're learning there, and also how border policy may have played a role in Riley's tragic death. Caitlin?
Natasha, Jose Ibarra is sitting in a jail cell tonight facing multiple felony charges, including murder, kidnapping, and aggravated assault for the alleged killing of Laken Riley. She was a student over here in Athens. Immigration and Customs Enforcement tells News Nation that Ibarra was actually arrested previously just a few months ago in New York City and then let go, leading him at some point here to Athens, where Laken's body was recently discovered brutally beaten to death, leading a lot of people to ask the question why he was released in the first place. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp furious tonight over the murder of 22-year-old Laken Riley, suggesting in a letter to the White House that her alleged killer may have slipped through the cracks in the Biden administration's immigration policy. Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirmed to News Nation that Jose Ibarra, the man accused of murdering Riley, is a citizen of Venezuela who crossed into the United States illegally in 2022. ICE officials tell us he then made his way to New York City, where he was arrested in September of 2023 and charged with, quote, acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17 and a motor vehicle license violation. He was released by the NYPD before a detainer could be issued. Ibarra was arrested on Friday for the killing of nursing student Laken Riley, killed in broad daylight while out on her morning jog along a popular University of Georgia running trail.
He did not know her at all. I think this was a crime of opportunity. This was an individual who woke up with bad intentions on that day.
While authorities are confident Riley didn't know her attacker, News Nation can confirm that there is a link between Jose Ibarra and the University of Georgia. A UGA spokesperson tells us Jose's brother Diego worked in a campus dining hall as a dishwasher. He was hired just 2 weeks before the murder, but was fired for, quote, presenting a fake green card before ever receiving a paycheck. And according to official records, Jose Ibarra resided at an apartment just blocks from the UGA campus, not far from the Lake Herrick exercise trail where Laken Riley's body was found.
Valued viewers, please let me know what you all think. When is the best time to talk about policy after the incident? Is it right after the incident, or is it long afterwards when everyone has forgotten about it? And also let me know this. Regardless of where you stand on immigration, as soon as an immigrant shows that they don't want to abide by the policies of our society, shouldn't they be out of here? Until next time, peace and stay informed.